we doing today? Riley.
4.1 ratio.
Trevor, what can you now do?
I can understand what a ratio and what it does.
You can understand what a ratio is and what it does. And what is a ratio, Briggs?
The ratio is the comprehension
A comprehension? Careful. A comparison of two. It's a comparison of two quantities. So two different amounts. Samira, what's an equivalent? What does equivalent mean? You gotta say that much louder. It means equal. Can you give me an example of something that is equivalent, Samira? 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2, or equal to 1/2, right? All right, so we're working on ratios. How many different ways can you write a ratio, Veronica? And what is one way you would write it, Tiffany? You can write it as an A with 2, as the word, and A and B would just be our numbers represented as variables. Christian, what's another way you could write it with? A over B, like a fraction. And what's the third way you could write it with, Caitlin?
A colon B.
You could use a colon. Good. And should all ratios, true or false, Samira, or Sadia, I mean, should all ratios be reduced, true or false?
True.
So all ratios should be reduced, correct? If you look at ratios in action, this is just our practice, and I gave you 4 X's and 4 O's, and I asked you a couple of questions, like letter A, 5A. What is the ratio of X's and O's? And we said the ratio is 4 to 4, 4 to 4, and 4 to 4, and then we realized we forgot to reduce it, right? So technically it is a 1 to 1, a 1 to 1, or a 1 to 1 ratio. Got it? Okay. Then we said, what is the ratio of X to total shapes? We came up with 4 to 8, which is really 1 to 2 because you have to reduce it, right? So there are 4 X's and there are 8 total shapes. You with me? Then the last thing we talked about is writing ratios as a decimal. And you simply take the first number and you stick it inside the division box and you divide it by the second number. Or you could even type it into your calculator if you needed to. The word problem focused on Jeremiah and his trip to the grocery store looking for fruit. And we came up with a ratio of different fruits to different fruits. And we even converted it into a fraction, or not a fraction, but a decimal, which was 2.86. And Caitlin told us it was 2.86 to 1 is what that decimal really represents. So for every, I think the ratio was kiwis and oranges to pineapples and apples. For every 2.86 kiwis and oranges, Jeremiah bought 1 pineapple and apple. Questions, comments, quandaries, schools, quotes, or queries? Remember, real world is no longer going to be part of our notes. You are going to add it to your discussion.